Infosys provides world-class online IT training, staffing, and software testing solutions to customers worldwide. H2K Infosys, how we are different from our competitors. 100% job-oriented training, hands-on project work, cloud test lab, resume preparation and review, mock interviews, robust syllabus, one-time fee and lifetime access to classes, access to recorded sessions of live classes. H2K Infosys has won the trust of thousands of students worldwide. For a free demo class, visit us at h2kinfosys.com.
This machine should be my reducer machine. All this data should be moved. Definitely it has to be moved to this machine itself. There is no other way. So data movement is anyways there and it is required.
Right, but this way the job trackers, let's say, chooses node number 2 as a reducer, right?
Okay.
And node number 2 that it is the reducer, right?
Right.
So once it knows it is the reducer, it can go and get the data. But if the data is intermediate data is stored in HDFS, the name node is going to distribute that data across, say, maybe node 5, 6, and 7.
Yeah, that's fine. It will go. I mean, even though if there is one more machine, it's okay for it, right? Okay. The output of your mapper is distributed to different machines as well. Fine, it will go and collect. Suppose this machine is also having your output. Fine, it will go and collect this one also. That's not an issue. Anyways, collecting is happening between all the machines, right? Wherever my tasks are running.
But the reducer should run on only one machine, right? It's copying it to multiple nodes is creating, a lot of bandwidth. I don't know. That's just my guess.
Yeah. You are very nearer, but yeah, I can tell you that you are very near. The concept here is, whenever you are copying some data to HDFS, the replication will happen automatically, right? I don't need to write any specific logic or something such that it has to be replicated. It is a default factor that once I write some data into my HDFS, it automatically gets replicated. But this intermediate value, I don't need it, right? Actually, for the customer, he doesn't need about, or he doesn't bother about this intermediate value. And so what's the logic or what is the reason that I write this data to my HDFS, and once I write it, it automatically gets replicated. So it's all about maintenance of, again, huge data which I doesn't need it. So that is the reason I don't write my intermediate values to HDFS. So as it's going to be again huge, I don't want all that information which is useless to me. I just need the output. That's it. So that's the reason we go to a local machines database. That's it. Just to avoid the replications and all those things, we will go to our local file system. Are you clear with this? Any questions on this concept? Okay, all good. Okay, these are written to HDFS. In practice, the reducer usually emits a single key value pair for each input key. So most of the times we will have a logic, or we will need a requirement such that it will give some output. What is the use of writing a program, a very such huge program, without getting any values, right? So we will get a use case such that it will emit some key value pairs through my reducer. So that is what happens in general. So again, we will see some pseudo codes of our reducer also, and then finally we can jump into our actual program. Okay. So here it is telling add up all the values associated with each intermediate key. So that is what the main functionality of the reducer, right? So we will see how we will write our pseudocode for that. So let reduce of k comma values is, I am declaring a field or I'm declaring a value called as sum and I'm initializing it to 0. So my logic is for each int I, for each integer I in values, sum is equal to sum plus I. So for each of the input values I am getting through my mapper phase, I am aggregating it to my sum, and every time I go through this loop, I am incrementing my sum value. So for the first time it will be sum is equal to sum plus 0. Maybe my sum value is having 1, my actual value is having 1, so that's the reason I will get it as sum is equal to 1 for the first time, and the next time again I am getting some value and I'm going to add that value to my sum is equal to 1, so again I generate a new sum value, and that's how the whole loop finishes till the end of all my intermediate values, and finally it will emit the key comma the final whole value which is aggregated and stored it in sum field, right? So if you see this example, bar comma all my intermediate values are generated as 9, 3, minus 17 and 44. It will sum up all these values through this for each loop. So 9 plus 3 is equal to 12 plus 44 means 56 minus 17. So it will add out to something 39. Guys, I'm very poor in calculation, but you can do your calculations. So it is just an aggregation. Okay. So again, if you take this value for 123,177, it is making up to around 223 plus 77. So it is going to sum up exactly to 300. So that is how the actual reducer phase is about. And also the identity reducer is very common. So the actual identity reducer is the default reducer. So there is again a default mapper and default reducers, and they were called as identity mapper and identity reducer. In the sense, even though I don't write my reducer logic, there will be something called as internally identity reducer, and it will do some reducer and it will generate the output. So here my requirement is for each v in values emit key comma value. So it is just emitting separately with each of the value. So that is what it's doing in this example. Foo, and here I am having different values, right? So for each of the value it is generating that key comma value in pair. So until this loop is finished, until all my values are finished, this loop gets executed and it will generate the output as foo comma 9, foo comma 3, foo comma minus 17 and foo comma 44. So that is how it happens, and now we will see our actual program. Okay. So just to wind up everything in a single shot, I had kept everything, all the phases in a single slide so that we can understand much more clearer. So my input file is having some text, and that text is given in the first phase. Okay, I'm having as deer, bear, river, car, river, deer, car, bear. Okay, and now I have to divide this input file into splits, right? And let's imagine that splitting is finished at this phase and I'm getting 3 splits, and in each split I got one separate record. So my first record is containing 3 words, that is deer, bear and river, and my second split is containing car, river, and my third split is containing deer, car, river, bear, right? So, and as per our framework logic, each input split needs to be processed by each of a map task, right? So now I am having 3 input splits, so definitely I have to get 3 mappers, right? So now if you see the mapping phase here, you are having 3 map phases. So each map phase is taking this input split as an input and it is generating a list of key value pairs. So I am breaking down each of the word and I am counting for that, right? So deer, 1, bear, 1 and river, 1 is my map output for my first split, and for coming to the next split it will generate as car, 1 and river, 1, and for my third input split it will generate as deer, 1, car, 1 and bear, 1. So now the actual phase starts, that is the shuffling phase. So maybe it is undergoing some partitioner, which is the inbuilt partitioner, that is called as hash partitioner, and based on that it is generating and it is shuffling all the values based on the key. So it has gone through each of the value and it saw that there were 4 different independent keys. So after my shuffling phase is finished, the 4 independent keys will be separated into 4 independent tasks, such that it will be having as bear comma 1 into 1 into one sort of output, and car comma 1 and car comma 1. So if you see here, this car comma 1 and car comma 1 is the output of map 2 and map 3, right? So all the outputs of map 2 and map 3 car values of a particular key in the sense is going to one output, and again the dir comma 1 and dir comma 1, which is the output of first map and third map, is going to another key set values, and the river comma 1 and river comma 1 is going to another key set values. So now I am going to the reducer phase and I am having 4 keys here. I have decided, and it's again up to me like how many reducers I want to use. So I thought of, okay, let each key go to a separate reducer. So that's the reason I am having 4 reducers here. So each key is going to each reducer. Bear comma 1 and bear comma 1 will go to one reducer. Car comma 1 and car comma 1 will go to another reducer, that is the second one, and dir comma 1 will go to third reducer, and so on. So now what my reducer will do is, it will just count the values, or it will sum up the values, and it will generate the output as bear comma 2, car comma 3, dir comma 2 and river comma 2. Why it's going suddenly? Okay, so if at all I think or I write my program to have 2 reducers and keep a reducer with first reducer as bear and car, then I would get my output as bear comma 2 and car comma 3 in one reducer, and the next 2 values into my 2 reducers, such that it will then have the output as dir comma 2 and river comma 2 as in a single reducer. And that is how my final result is being generated with the count of each of the words in my input file. Okay guys, any questions on this? If not, we will go with our actual program. So just let me know, or let me hold on at this moment for any questions. Okay, so everyone is happy, all good now. So okay, we will go through this algorithm once we discuss the program. Okay. God, it's killing me. Why is this happening? One year. What happened to my VM? Still I'm not able to get my, oh my God, okay. Guys, you are hello. Yeah, are you able to hear me now? Okay, okay, okay. Thank you. Somehow I lost my audio connection. Okay. 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 So guys, now I am able to see you, show you this command, right? On that day, I was not able to show you as my cluster is up and running good. Now my cluster was in safe mode, and that's the reason I ran this command. Okay. Hadoop fs safe mode leave. So all good. Let me open my Eclipse as well. When and we open GoToMeeting, everything goes down here. let it run. Meanwhile, we will start it. Okay, so each properly developed MapReduce program will have three components, right? The first one is mapper component, the second one is reducer component, and the third one is main class, which is called as driver module. So every time when you are going to write your MapReduce logic, you have to have at least three minimum programs, that is a mapper, reducer and a driver. So a driver program is the one which will combine all your mappers and reducers. Combine in the sense which is able to give you paths to access your mappers and reducers, or if any configurations you want to give, or if you want to declare your partitioners. I mean, whatever the logic, suppose you want to give your reducers, number of reducers as manually, so you want to give so many things or so many conditions, right? So all those things can be written in your driver code. The actual processing logic will be available in mapper and reducer. Okay. So now if you see here, in my WordCon program, I am having three Java programs, right? One is word mapper, which is my mapper phase. Good that it came. And the next one is wordcount.java. This is my actual driver class. And the last one is reducer phase. Okay, so totally I have three Java programs. And also, just let me explain you one more thing. Okay. Right, so far so good. So now, can I override Hadoop's default configuration from the command line? So we had seen that we can override our configurations that were given in core site or MapRed site and HDFS site.xml, right? We thought that we can override whatever that was defined by the admin. So there are different ways of overriding, right? So one of the way is we can override the Hadoop's default configuration from the command line. So for that, I will use a class called as tool runner. So tool runner is a guy who will let you know again. Hello. హలో ఏంటి ఏమంటా అంటే నెట్టిపోతుంది వాళ్ళన్నీ దరిద్రాలే హలో
H2K Infosys provides world-class online IT training, staffing, and software testing solutions to customers worldwide. H2K Infosys, how we are different from our competitors. 100% job-oriented training, hands-on project work, cloud test lab, resume preparation and review, mock interviews, robust syllabus, one-time fee and lifetime access to classes, access to recorded sessions of live classes. H2K Infosys has won the trust of thousands of students worldwide. For a free demo class, visit us at h2kinfosys.com.